How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Nick Nielsen. And today we want to discuss three big problems the Yankees face ahead of the postseason. Now, this team has been polarizing. One day they're scoring 13 runs. The next day they're scoring 0 runs or 1 run. And you're splitting a series with the freaking Oakland Athletics. I think we can firmly say that this team doesn't know how to win sometimes anymore. After the All-Star break, it's been very inconsistent. I'm very concerned that they can actually take down a big team like the Dodgers or even the Astros in the postseason if they made it to the World Series or even in the champion. I don't even know where this team sits right now in terms of beating good ones, let alone beating the freaking Oakland Athletics. So I want to discuss three things the Yankees are facing before we get to the playoffs. About a month left of regular season play, and they face some pretty big challenges, some adversity that needs to be addressed and they need to overcome right now. And we have some thoughts, some ideas. But Nick, before we dive into the first one, which is the polarizing offensive nature of this team, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. Last night's game was just, a game that was a baseball game that I watched. Same with the night before. But it's just it's like you said, this team is just they flip-flop. So as Donald Trump would say, flip-flop. That's how they kind of are. That's the nature of their build. And that's not a bad thing, I will say, because I'd much rather prefer a team to be like when they're really, really good, like unbeatable, like the Yankees are, and then have their spurts of like bad play, then just be consistently bang average, But the problem is like you said, teams like the Dodgers, even the Astros struggle against the A's too. So let's not forget that. But the Dodgers specifically are the team with the target on their back. After their offseason, after their amazing season so far, a lot of people probably have them as the World Series favorites. Do I think we're as good as the Dodgers on paper? Yes. Do I think when both teams are at their best, we're as good as the Dodgers? I think we're better. But right now, you can see that when we have our bad days, we are way worse than the Dodgers, way worse than the Astros. Those teams that are like, what's happening? Like the teams that are the big name teams that we're probably going to be facing in the postseason. I'm not worried about, like, let's say come October, we struggle a little bit against like the Twins, because I still think we'll be able to beat the Twins. But against the Dodgers or the Astros, you cannot struggle like this and expect to get by. This is just, it's unacceptable baseball. How do you lose in split 2 against the Athletics? They have a fucking rally possum. Like, are you kidding me? Why we're losing to those teams? Like, I'm sure you saw it happen up in the right field bleachers. Like, you saw that? Like that's what's going on in Oakland. That's how unexciting the baseball games are. Homie's got the FBI looking after him because he had a little bit of fun in the top right bleacher section. Like, we're losing to this team. They still charge for vending machines in the clubhouse. Come on. David Justice pointed this out. But like, I don't know. It was an infuriating weekend of baseball, to say the least. Started off great. I was like, oh, easy sweep of Oakland. And then everyone on their team turned into prime Pedro Martinez, only because they have ERAs over 6. And for whatever reason, the Yankees cannot hit terrible pitching. I don't get it.
I think it's a lot right now. Okay. Before we dive into like the first issue, and honestly, this is part of it. I think that they're going through serious bouts of fatigue at certain positions. I think it's a long season. It was hot as hell out there in Oakland. And I think that they ultimately just like, they're running out of gas. You know what I mean? These phantom IL stints are very much calculated. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, these guys need rest. The question is, are some of their bigger players going to show up when it matters most? Aaron Judge, before the Mets series, went 9 games without hitting a home run, which is like a big deal for him. But then he hit 3 home runs in 4 games after that. So it's like, he's fine. Stanton, we need him to ramp up. He gets better as time goes on. He's not going to be, he had a hit, 3 RBIs in his first game back. That was very encouraging. But we need him to be hitting home runs too. This team didn't hit I don't think they hit a single home run in the entire series against Oakland. No, I might be mistaken.
They had like,
okay, so that's
3 hits
insane.
or something the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's really bad.
Not the entire series, sorry,
the last 2 games. And the polarizing nature of this team is very disappointing. I mean, we're going to talk about IKF and shortstop position in a second. But if this offense isn't playing well, the Yankees are going to lose in the playoffs. They have good pitching, but I don't trust some of their starters. Montas has no playoff experience. Cortez has no playoff experience. Their bullpen is composed of a lot of young players who have minimal playoff experience against some of the best players in the game in the biggest moments that they can possibly imagine in their heads. Like, they're going to fail at some points. They need the offense to be able to supplement some of the deficiencies that have been presented lately. And mainly they're going through massive droughts without hitting homers. And as we saw last year and why we all bitched at Brian Cashman, if this team isn't hitting homers, their offense is next to non-existent. Like they need to be slugging well to be productive. And look, they have a couple of contact hitters to try and supplement that reality. And we saw against Oakland in that first game, they scored 13 runs, and it was all on contact hitting and good base running. We see that they can do it, but they don't have enough. DJ LeMahieu's on the roster to make, to get on base. He's even struggling right now. So, they don't have enough contact hitters that are very good and get on base a lot. Like IKF, okay, he's a contact hitter, but he doesn't walk. He doesn't take pitches. He swings at ass. He's walking at 5.7% this year. Like if he was a contact hitter, but he was getting on base at a 35% clip, he's only getting on base at 31%. And he was walking at like a 10% clip, and he was taking 4 pitches, at every at bat. Like I'd be okay, like he's valuable, but he doesn't get on base that much. He's been absolutely horrendous in the month of August, and that's transitioning us over into the shortstop position pretty seamlessly there.
It's you're hitting it on the head. And I saw a great tweet today that said IKF is, for all shortstops with at least 400 plate appearances, he is dead last in F4. That's the guy that we're starting on a World Series caliber team with aspirations, saying that we're trying to win and we are competing and we're going all in. Why is IKF still starting if we're going all in and if we really care that much? However, only a couple more days until September call-ups. So I imagine that IKF's days, just like Hicks's, may be numbered. I hope. I don't know. But it's so painful knowing that position for the Yankees, I believe, are second to last or dead last in for the position slugging, position WRC plus, and position F4. Like, we're terrible at shortstop because we run out IKF and Marwin there. And Osvaldo only has like 1 or 2 games now under his belt there, so he can't even really improve the position that much because, simply put, that doesn't add to the data sample at all. Osvaldo's been amazing. That dude in right field, anywhere really, has been a revelation for this team. He was the only guy that did something in the last 2 games against Oakland. Like, he at least cared. But it was just the shortstop position. I don't mean to harp on IKF because I don't want IKF's dad trying to get me blacklisted from doing sports media. But I do think that he's the biggest problem on the team right now. That's starting every day. And that's because Aaron Hicks has now been benched to you're gonna be the guy that fills in for people now. You're gonna be on the bench and you're gonna be the every 4th, every 5th day player. But IKF is still seeing regular day, everyday ABs, and he's not doing anything with them. And that leads to a massive logjam at the position where we have a star shortstop that is ready to go at AAA. I know his WRC plus is still under 100. I believe it's a 99. And people are like, why is it still so low? He was really, really bad the first month of the season, like really, really bad. And the last 3 months, I will say this month he struggled a little bit, but the last 3 months, June, July, August, Oswald Peraza has been insane. So if we're not going to call him up, shortstop's just going to be a gaping hole, and that's a big problem.
It is, and some good news as we are recording right now. The Yankees just reinstated Clay Holmes from the 15-day injured list, so finally got our big guy back. Marwin Gonzalez was placed on the paternity list. So he's having a kid.
That's good. Good for Marwin. Congratulations.
Yeah, good for Marwin. They recalled Tim LaCastro from AAA as well. So,
damn it, dude! Why couldn't it be recalled Tyler Wade from Triple Wade? From Triple Wade.
Triple Wade.
Oh, that's his new nickname, dude. Triple Wade. Dude, I fuck with that. Okay, that's sick. But no, why didn't they? I will say. So I tweeted out a little bit ago. This is kind of sidebar, but I tweeted out like about a week and a half ago, Tyler Wade's AAA stats since joining the Yankees, and he had a 137 WRC plus. Since I tweeted that tweet, I'm pretty sure he's gone like 2 for 25. So I do not want to jinx it any further. T Dizzle, if you watch this channel, you do you, my guy. I'm not going to influence your play anymore. I'm just glad you're back in the system. All right. Back to the scheduled programming. The second problem, kind of speaking on that, is these IL stints. There have been tons of them. You hinted toward it at the beginning. That's another big problem. The team needs to get healthy. We are not going to be able to see what this postseason product will look like until end of September. And that's a bit worrisome to me. Because it's like, if we're not going to see what all these guys are going to look like playing together, and they're only going to get like a week's worth of reps, I don't know how this offense is going to click and how this defense is going to click come October. I could just be sounding stupid saying that, but when you have star guys like Stanton just came back, which is great. Clay Holmes just got reinstated, which is great. When you have those two guys coming back, that's huge, but you still have Carpenter out. You still have Bader out. You still have Cortez out. You still have Severino out. Chapman, of course, went to a random tattoo tent in the middle of like, I don't even know. Like, I can't even think of anywhere that he would just go to. Probably just on some deserted island.
Serengeti.
Yeah, the Serengeti. Or he's probably in New York, so he probably just went to like one of like the back alleys in New York and said, "Yeah, can you do this portrait, please? I don't want to pay the same, like the full price."
Stick and poke, baby.
Stick and poke with like a screwdriver. Like, what are you doing, Aroldis? So now he's on the
a
IL.
rusty old driver.
Which is probably a good thing that Aroldis is on the IL, honestly, because it's like he was terrible. So thank God. So
but
either way,
his last 2 appearances.
Either way, that's 3 bullpen guys that are basically got gone. And then, of course, you have King and Green that are out for the season. It's just there's so many injuries that like the big ones like Carpenter and Bader and Severino and Nestor, of course, come back. I'm excited to see what this team can do. We just haven't gotten to see that yet. And I don't know if we're going to get to see it until like the very end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, this team right now, and we're going to discuss the injuries as a third big problem just in a second here. But IKF, like you mentioned before, his dad might come after you. And I have nothing against IKF. I just don't think he really does exactly what the Yankees need him to do.
I'm sorry.
He's not great.
He's a great guy. He's not a good baseball player. He's below average in every facet of the game except for speed and defense. And those two things this year have been underwhelming.
Right. Well, look, the numbers, we're looking at it analytically. Some other people may disagree, and that's okay if you disagree with us. That's not a problem. And I know people will, but
us, Alex.
he's not slugging. Like, guys, the Yankees live and die off the home run. This has been the reality since Cashman changed his analytical model to one that relied on this, and he went after Stanton. And then obviously Judge comes up, and this is what the math tells him, and the guys back there doing all the calculations. But IKF has an 80 WRC plus, so he's 20% worse than the average player. You can't argue with these stats, guys. Like, I want to argue with them. I want IKF to be great, but like, you just can't argue with the numbers. They tell you how good the players are. His hard hit metrics, 28.3% hard hit rate. He has a less than 1% barrel rate, guys. He uses a shorter bat. He has 3 barrels on the season. Do you understand how bad that is? He doesn't make good contact. Yes, he makes contact, and he's a contact hitter, but he doesn't make good contact, guys.
They're just weak dribblers or hit directly at the shortstop or weak pop flies. Right. Aaron Hicks's WRC plus is 11 points higher than IKF's. And Aaron Hicks has literally been sent to the shadow realm, and he's getting like every 4th day at bats now. So it's just to put in perspective, Aaron Hicks has like a negative like 10 WRC plus for the month, and he is still 11 points higher than IKF on the season. Like, this guy is not an everyday shortstop on a World Series contending team. If he's doing this in Oakland, sure, he'd probably get some attention and they'd probably flip him for a prospect. But he's on the Yankees, the World Series contending Yankees with the second highest, third highest payroll in baseball this season, who their owner and their president both came out and said, we are competing this year. We are going for it. We are trying, and we are putting a product on the field that we believe can compete for a ring. So why is IKF still starting?
And that's the argument to make, is like, I think Oswaldo Cabrera should be getting more reps at shortstop.
Everyday shortstop. I mean, once Bader comes back,
he looks great.
Even when Carpenter comes back, put Carpenter in right and Judge in center, Oswaldo at shortstop. Because Carpenter hasn't been placed on the IL yet. I don't know if you've noticed that. Carpenter still is like there. So he's apparently waiting to see, because he's going to get checked again the first week of September to see if his foot's healed like properly, and if he can kind of get back to taking ABs and getting a rehab stint going. And then Severino also's got a rehab stint coming up here in the next week or two as well. We're getting the boys back, Alex, and people are not ready for what this product is going to look like. It's going to be like the sham wow. It's going to fucking shock the world. We are going to win number 28. And you can book me saying that right now. We are going to win number 28, even after splitting with Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, look, I hope you're right. I think we have a lot left to see with this team, but I will say this: that transitions over to the third problem here, which is the injuries galore. The monstrous amount of injuries this team is facing right now. You have, like you mentioned, Severino. You have Carpenter. You have Bader, Abreu, Castro, Holmes just got back, Cortez. Some of these are more phantom or just settling these guys down than others. But Bader is going to be a monster addition. Carpenter, all of these guys are projected to make a return in mid-September, by the way. So that's very good news to ramp up the last 2 weeks of the regular season. But Bader is going to be a godsend in center field defensively. And then you also have his bat and his speed. He's stolen 15 bases this year in 72 games, which is unbelievable. That's like a third of his singles. He's stealing a base. And then, what that can do in terms of run production. And then of course you have Carpenter, who was hitting 300 with a, 41% on base rate. And what do you have? 15 homers.
Yeah, the dude was doing, the dude was him. He did everything. He was the best player I think I've ever watched with my 2 eyes. Yeah. So he had 15 home runs, 305, 412, 727 triple slash, with a 218 WRC plus. So not having that does impact the team, believe it or not, all you Yankee haters out there. Not having that bat is literally not having Barry Bonds. So when he comes back, it will be a completely different vibe, completely different feel. And I do hope when he goes to see the second opinion this upcoming week that it's good news. And they're like, yeah, it's healing as according. You clearly don't need to get surgery. You're chill. And that's great. That's perfect. We're off in the home stretch in that point, because I'm willing to say Carpenter is the third biggest X factor on this team when healthy, behind Judge and Trevino.
Oh, I forgot about Trevino, who's also been dealing with the foot injury.
Trevino's got the foot injury. Oh, I forgot about that too, as I just said.
I know. Well, hopefully he's okay.
I gotta watch Higgy. Oh God.
I know. He had a single yesterday. He had a run, so I'll give him that.
He did. The classic Hicks and Higgy rally, baby.
Oh my God. Right.
I was losing my mind that he broke up the no-no, and then he got to second, and then he scored. I was like, this is just classic Yankees.
No hitter against freaking Adrian Martinez. But guys,
6.7 ERA.
6.7. Yeah. I mean, look, it's embarrassing. This team is polarizing. The injuries are hurting us right now. We need our primary guys back. We need, Cortez, Sevy. This is going to be a different team in 3 weeks, I'd say. In 3 weeks, This is going to be a different team. And it gives Stanton some time to ramp up as well, and Cabrera to continue getting at bats and seeing live pitching. And he's been looking pretty solid. His average has been skyrocketing ever since those back-to-back 3-hit performances against Oakland to open the series. He's
Timothy, dude. And he puts together good at-bats. Like some of the swings he was missing, and he was like swinging on top of, or he was like behind, because some of the fastballs in AAA, I know you face a lot of good pitchers, but you don't face really like elite pitchers like you do in the major leagues. And he's faced some quality arms and a lot of bullpen arms that throw 100 miles an hour. And he also worked a full count against Scherzer and took him to deep left center field. So like, I can't be too mad. The last 2 games against Oakland, he was the only guy doing something. Like, he got the only hit on Saturday, and then yesterday he worked a walk and worked a couple of full counts. I was like, this guy's Himothy. He's Himothy.
He looks like a vet, and I think that's pretty cool for him.
Great way to put it, Alex. He does look like a vet.
He looks like a vet, and also his versatility in multiple positions, and which is why I think that he could get some reps at shortstop. But, guys, this is an interesting situation. The Yankees have a lot to figure out over the next couple of weeks, but these are the 3 major issues: polarizing offense, shortstop's not providing enough slugging, which is why we think Cabrera should get more. And then, of course, the mass injuries, the graveyard that is the Yankees right now, and they are expected to get healthy in a couple of weeks here. So I'm very optimistic. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Optimistic.
Very optimistic. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Of course, a little bit more on the negative side, but we are kind of tailoring to this current situation, how they can change things up and help.
Negative side, Alex, I said at like the 15-minute mark, the Yankees are going to win the World Series this year. That's not negative.
So that was our lone positive in this episode. And then Clay Holmes' return midway through.
That was nice.
That was definitely nice. But guys, make sure to like and subscribe as always below. Everyday content. We got you guys covered with all the updates, news, and analytical, just kind of feedback and breakdowns here. So make sure to subscribe for more information and great content on the daily. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.